Episode 2, Lean Management. Welcome to the second episode of the Lean English podcast. My name is Tom and I will be your host. Thank you for joining me. Right off the bat, I must give special thanks to anyone who suffered through the previous episode. You have returned even though your therapist advised you against it so soon after the original trauma. Let's see if you can make it through this snooze fest. A snooze fest is something that is so boring that it puts you to sleep. Just kidding. We are covering one of my favorite subjects today, which should be very informative. So grab a pen and a cup of coffee or something stronger, and let's get started. As I said last time, I am an American living in France who uses podcasts to learn French. As an English teacher with a background in business management, I quickly find myself speaking with my students about their careers or their businesses. They are often interested in how businesses work in America, how employees are treated by their employers, how management makes decisions about research and development, things like that. And most of the time, I end up giving them advice on how to use lean management tools to improve things. We talk about creating process maps, identifying value to improve customer satisfaction, and building a supply chain that is both responsive to demand and an engine that drives your quality initiatives. Many of these tools are new to the French, as Lean, Six Sigma, and Agile are not driving innovation as they do in the US. So I decided to create a podcast for all English learners who are also interested in business management, hence the Lean English podcast. Now for a brief introduction. Lean English Consulting was founded in 2024 to help companies train their employees in English and process improvement methods at the same time. The Lean English podcast was created last week to provide interesting topics to English learners who are searching for comprehensible input. We are in Brest, France, and are Calliope certified. So why another podcast? As I said last time, I am an American living in France who uses podcasts to learn French. As an English teacher with a background in business management, I quickly find myself speaking with my students about their careers or their businesses. They are often interested in how businesses in America work, how employees are treated by their employers, how management makes decisions about research and development, things like that. And most of the time, I end up giving them advice on how to use lean management tools to improve things. We talk about creating process maps, identifying value to improve customer satisfaction, and building a supply chain that is both responsive to demand and an engine that drives your quality initiatives. Many of these tools are new to French businesses, as Lean, Six Sigma, and Agile are not driving innovation as they do in the US. So I decided to create a podcast for all English learners who are also interested in business management, hence the Lean English podcast. If this is the first time you are listening to me, you may want to listen to episode 1 to get a better understanding of what the podcast is all about and the differences between Lean, Six Sigma, and Agile. Moving forward, I'll assume you already have a high-level understanding of how Lean was developed and what some of the general principles are, so we won't cover the 5 focusing steps or the Lean diagram again. But let's do a quick review of our first episode anyway. Lean uses 5 focusing steps and various tools to remove waste, generate flow, and show daily improvements. Six Sigma is a 5-phase toll-gated project management method that uses statistical analysis to reduce variation and fix complex problems. Agile is software development in a lean environment, so many of the tools and techniques should be familiar to you after today. But I didn't cover them in a lot of detail, so today we will give you a better understanding of how lean works and some tools that make it so effective. Then in episodes 3 and 4, we will cover Six Sigma and Agile. You can skip around if you want, but I really think this order provides the best understanding of the methods and will help you make decisions about which methodology may be right for you. Following Agile, I will change course and publish some episodes that are just interviews with other native speakers, friends and former coworkers who live here in Brest. This will give you all the chance to contact me with questions about process improvement methods and requests for specific topics. I genuinely hope that this podcast becomes a way to communicate with me about the problems you are facing. The plan is for you to determine the topics we discuss so I can provide meaningful insights into the process improvement tools and methods that you need. Now, there is one topic that I left out of our initial discussions, and that is systems thinking. If you have ever read The Fifth Discipline by Peter Senge, you have been exposed to the idea of investigating your problems as the product of their system. Senge breaks down how companies can become learning organizations and create predictable outcomes using system dynamics. Systems thinking was not included in the previous episode because it is less a process improvement method and more a philosophy on understanding business. I haven't decided when we will discuss it since it may be too esoteric. Esoteric defines something that is very unusual and understood or liked by only a small number of people. However, I will cover it sometime in the future as it lays the foundation for many long-term business decisions and works well with the other three methodologies. Here is our agenda for today. We will start with the 14 principles of Lean and then discuss the three types of improvement that Lean promotes and show the differences between Kaizen, Kaizen Blitz, and Kaikuku. I tell you, if I had $1 for every time I mispronounced a word in Japanese, I'd be a rich man. Anyway, then we will refer to Deming and his plan, do, study, act method of problem solving. Sometimes you will see it written as plan, do, check, act, but it's really the same thing. We will move on to the always popular value stream mapping and dive into inventory management to show how just-in-time, one-piece flow, and Kanban all work together. Then I'll show how standard work creates stable processes, how to calculate important production statistics like takt time and cycle time, and then move to the benefits of visual management, mistake proofing, and using 5S to keep your workstation clean. So stick around, this should be fun. So, you are managing a business and things are broken everywhere. Your company is falling behind competitors and you are losing market share. Your customers are complaining about the quality of your product and your costs are doubling because you must replace faulty units with new units that have just been produced. Worker morale is low. You can see that your employees dread coming to work. There is no enthusiasm for the job, and the feedback you receive is almost entirely negative. Or you are one of those employees and you see that management does not care about your feedback. They invest little to nothing in your training and safety. Machine maintenance is not routinely performed because it doesn't seem to be as important as profits, causing most of the equipment to be broken or awaiting repair. And there is no talk about quality improvement from anyone in leadership. No one wants to shut down production to train or solve problems with long-term solutions. The future looks bleak. Then someone tells you about lean management. They tell you that it focuses on improving customer and employee relations, that quality and profits improve, that there is always time for waste elimination, training, and machine maintenance, that it doesn't cost a thing to implement most of these tools, and that even the largest companies with the highest rates of productivity use them every day. That, once it has been thoroughly embraced, leadership supports shutting down the production line to solve problems and keep defects from reaching the customer. So now that you know all this, where do you start if you want to implement lean management in your company? Start with lean's governing mindset. This is lean's governing mindset. 14 principles divided into 4 categories. The first category is long-term philosophy. Base your management decisions on a long-term philosophy, even at the expense of short-term financial goals. Managers that work in long-lived companies must understand their place in the company's history and work to bring the company to the next level. Over time, you will not be judged on your performance in the last quarter, but over the last 5 or 10 years. The second category is the right process will produce the right results. Too frequently, we focus on the results when we should be focusing on the process that produces the result. Again, it is nearsighted to believe the result is more important than the work that is being done. Create continuous process flow to bring problems to the surface. Problems become evident if all but one process step is in sync. In this way, flow is not just about production, but about exposing issues as well. Use pull systems to avoid overproduction. Replenish only what the customer takes away. It's that simple. Level out the workload. Make sure that one process step is not harder or more time-consuming than the rest. Flow cannot be implemented otherwise. Work like the tortoise, not the hare. This is as important as eliminating waste. Build the culture of stopping to fix problems to get quality right the first time. Where you can, try to customize your equipment to detect problems and stop by itself. This is the principle of Jidoka. If your machines can stop production and alert the worker when a defect has been created, then the worker can let the machine run without oversight. They can then do something else at the same time. Also, managers should be happy when the assembly line stops because it means you have detected a problem before it reached the customer and you get a chance to learn. The team should spend some time each day solving problems. It helps them understand how problems are caused and gives them the opportunity to think outside the box as they create solutions. As most of their day is filled with repetitive tasks, this is a nice change of pace. This is also the principle behind Kaizen, as even small imperfections are worthy of our attention. Standardized tasks are the foundation for continuous improvement and employee empowerment. Use stable, repeatable methods everywhere. A method is considered stable when it can be repeated over time and produces the same results. The manager should ensure the work environment supports these tasks in every way. It is not incumbent upon the worker, whose primary job is adding value to the product. The manager must become a servant leader who gives the worker all the tools, training, and equipment to perform their job well. One way of doing this is to use visual control so no problems are hidden. Use visual indicators to show people if they are in a standard condition or not. The cues should be immediately understood and provide guidance on how to fix problems. Graphics or pictures should replace text wherever possible. They can show how a product should look, use arrows to point out key points to remember, and color coding on the product to make selecting the right part easier. We will discuss this in more detail when we speak about foolproofing or poka-yoke. Use only reliable, thoroughly tested technology that serves your people and processes. Use tech to help people, not replace them. Replace old technology slowly and test the new technology thoroughly. Don't just buy the shiny new tool. But once it has been proven to be better than the old tool, adopt immediately and thoroughly. The third category is add value to the organization by developing your people. Grow leaders who thoroughly understand the work, live the philosophy, and teach it to others. The easiest way to improve your company's culture is by having managers who lead by example. No corporate slogan or internal marketing can replace a manager who shows the workers every day that they follow the lean philosophy. They must understand the daily work in great detail so they can communicate clear, detailed expectations to the workers. Develop exceptional people and teams who follow your company's philosophy. For large-scale problems, use cross-functional teams to improve quality and productivity. These are teams that are built with workers from many different areas of the company. This gives them the ability to see problems with new eyes and find creative ways to deal with them. They are also able to show workers who are upstream how their poor quality affects them downstream. We often use the terms upstream and downstream to indicate where a process step takes place. For example, product design is upstream of production because the product must be designed before it can be produced. And production is upstream from sales, who require the finished product before they can sell it. Teams built with workers from only one function may not be able to see the entire system, and we know that problems are created by systems. Respect your extended network of partners and suppliers by challenging them and helping them improve. Imagine you are a 3-star Michelin chef who has a very important guest coming to dinner. However, your supplier brings you wilted vegetables, spoiled cheese, and poor quality meat. No matter how well you can cook, your food will not taste as good as it should. Once you implement lean through your organization, you should work with your suppliers to implement lean in their organization as well. Improving the quality of your supply will benefit your product and your relationship with your supplier. Everyone wins. The fourth category of principles is continuously solve root problems to drive organizational learning. Go and see for yourself to thoroughly understand the situation. Think and speak based only about personally verified data. Even high-level managers and executives should go and see things for themselves. To prove this point, Taiichi Ono, a legendary Toyota manager, once introduced a new manager to the production line by drawing a large circle on the ground. He told the manager to stay in this circle all day and just observe what was happening around him. Using the same principle at my last job, I was able to see the significant waste in production time as workers walked from one toolbox to another to find the right tools for their job. I quickly suggested a solution to save the team several man-hours a day. Make decisions slowly by consensus, thoroughly considering all options. Implement decisions rapidly. This is called nemawashi in Japanese. It is the process of discussing problems and potential solutions with all those affected to collect their ideas and get agreement on a path forward. Toyota engineers carefully evaluate alternatives for all possible decisions. This is one of the reasons why Toyota takes so long to make necessary arrangements. The alternatives are all evaluated thoroughly before one is chosen. Building consensus is one way to achieve win-win scenarios and test all options to the benefit of all. This can only be accomplished in a silo-free organization. A silo is a tall, cylindrical building that is filled with bulk materials such as grain, coal, and cement. A silo in an organization describes a hierarchical function that communicates only within itself. Silos are an antiquated way of forming a business. Through their lack of communication and cooperation, they restrict progress because they limit the ability to understand and change the company's systems. We will speak further on the decision-making process when we discuss the PDSA cycle later. Become a learning organization through relentless reflection and continuous improvement. Organizations must be honest with themselves as they evaluate their performance. According to Peter Senge, becoming a learning organization requires a commitment to the truth, a willingness to root out the ways we limit ourselves from seeing things as they are. Lies and misdirection that are driven by ego or fear of criticism keep teams from understanding how they need to change. Now that we understand the principles of Lean, let's talk a little about the types of change that Lean supports. We will start with the most popular, Kaizen. Kaizen refers to the gradual, small improvements that are supported by a company's improvement culture. Kaizen is a Japanese term that translates literally to change for the better. Kai equals change, Zen equals good. The message of the Kaizen strategy is that not a day should go by without some kind of improvement being made somewhere in the company. Lean companies continuously improve, so they embrace any opportunity to remove imperfection, save 3 seconds when performing a task, or provide a benefit to the customer, no matter how small. Some benefits. There is a very low cost for implementation. It empowers the workers to be engaged with the system of improvement, and benefits can be realized from day one. The downsides. As we mentioned in previous episodes, it can be difficult to see small improvements without additional measurements or documentation. Real change takes time, which is why Kaizen won't work if the company does not have a long-term strategy. Also, workers may see the improvement as beneficial for the company, but extra work for themselves. The company should try to control this narrative and show how Kaizen benefits everyone. Now, if you're worried about changes taking too long, you can put a team together for a Kaizen Blitz. A Kaizen Blitz offers more dynamic changes for Lean practitioners that are comfortable with project work. A Kaizen Blitz is a way of concentrating the Kaizen principles into a small, short-term project lasting a few hours or a few days. Instead of fixing problems when they occur, these projects have a specific goal or problem to solve. A Blitz accelerates the methodology of removing waste, supports the 5 Lean principles, and works best when applied to processes which are repeatable and contain waste, rework, and inventory. Some benefits. A more dynamic form of Kaizen. Earlier benefits, and more attention surrounding the project. The downsides. Still may not be enough to see large-scale change. Since it requires limited resources and time, the changes will also be limited. Finally, we have Kaikuku. Kaikuku refers to radical change, a process improvement event that creates large changes in performance. Kaikuku can be translated to reform, But when reviewing the 10 commandments of Kaikuku, throw out traditional methods, be ready to start new, totally deny the status quo, a better translation might be radical change. These types of projects require considerable resources and adaptive problem solving. Kaikuku is used when drastic change is needed to drive the company after a disruption in the market or a sudden advance in technology. Moving from landlines to cell phones and from cell phones to smartphones are examples of this type of leap forward. Some benefits: limitless potential for change, accelerated learning. The drawbacks: buy in may be difficult for workers who have been with the company for a long time. It may be hard for them to leave all their work in the past and create something completely new. During the project, skilled mentors must guide the team to ensure they are being radical with their ideas while also maintaining the principles of lean. After a quick review of our slides, I see that we still have a lot to talk about with lean, so this seems like a good place to stop. Thanks for sticking with me until the end. I hope you are enjoying the material so far, and if you are, please return for part 2. Now that we have the principles and philosophy out of the way, we can cover the tools to make all this work together. All right, until next time, be good, and I'll talk to you later.